All right, so today is what we're calling Quality Day. So we're going to have all of our content today is going to be focused on quality. We've got a special surprise, near the end of Quality Day, and I would like to invite Chuck Miller to, join me on the stage and take the reins and kick off the first panel. So, this is a, really, important topic, as it always is, but I feel it's even more special this year, and it's becoming more special as time goes on. So, welcome,
all right,
Chuck, and I'll pass the reins to you.
Thanks, sir.
All right.
Good morning, everyone. So we've got a few hours. Why don't we just see if we can solve this problem today? We can go home at noon. We can feel really good about everything, right? Yeah, I'm sure we can handle that, right? So, where are we here? Data quality. It's complicated, right? I think that's the best way to sum it up. So many moving parts. We've talked about that. I think we've teed up things over the last 2 days for today really well. I think that data quality's permeated all the discussions we've had, all the panels. So can be eager to jump in. One of the reasons it's complicated is because it's not binary. This is a slide from the first SampleCon. I presented this in probably the first hour of the first SampleCon. And it's something that, there's lots of moving parts, and you can't just say this is poor quality, this is good quality. There's nuance to it, and so that's part of what makes it difficult. Also, it means different things to different people, right? To sample providers, we've got solid sourcing and managing the experience, reducing fraud, reducing reconciliations. As you get to the agencies, they're really worried about delivery and sample representation, engaging people with solid survey instruments. And then, kind of on the end user side, all of these things come into play, and they're worried about, what they've just executed or received as being reliable. Then they've got to accurately interpret it and have actionable results. And so, it's everything from the first sourcing of a respondent all the way to the delivery of an insight can be impacted. And so, part of what we're going to do today is really look at this, in its component parts and see what we can do. I know we all feel like this guy, right? Condemned to the fate of rolling the boulder up the hill and that falls back down, all that. And these are just some quotes that I've heard over the last couple of days. It's as complicated as ever. The stakes are higher than ever. I think that we've heard a lot this last year about significant issues and fraud in particular being something that's, it's kind of like an escalating arms race. It's like we feel comfortable and then they come up with some other way to try and defraud and get incentives. So, very high profile stuff there. We have been talking about this for a long time. There's been some progress made, but, it is the same conversation that I've also heard people say, are we the band on the Titanic? It can be a little discouraging at times, right? That we feel like things are going down. But I want you to come up because help is on the way. Let Melanie and Rachel talk to you briefly about initiative cross-industry associations that I think is really going to help us address some of these things.
So I've heard lots of questions this week about what the big announcement was that we were making today. And Melanie and I are really proud to stand in front of all of you all. There will be a release that comes out after today, but we wanted to do it here first to announce a full cross-industry collaboration all around sample quality. And it will be SampleCon, Insights Association, SMR, and MRS. And really, as we've all been hearing from our constituents individually and talking to each other, quality is a challenge, to put it lightly, and the time is right. We need to work together. The idea of us working in our own individual companies or even in our own silos as parts of the industry, it no longer works. And so we are so thrilled, and I am so honored that I get to say that I get to partner and work with you and the teams in Europe as well, because it's going to drive change, and the hope is to do that as quickly as we can.
Yeah, and the collaboration is more than just the associations. There's a bunch of you in this room that are already very involved, and we want all of you involved. So just to kind of illustrate that, if you're already involved with the Insights DII initiative or some meetings that are happening around sampling technology or the MRS Professional Standards, the SMR Professional Standards Committee and their work group, or the MRS, would you just stand really quickly if you've already been in some of those meetings? So there's a bunch of you. Yeah, see, they're popping up. And then I would say, if you want your company to be involved, would you also stand up? Yeah, so, right? And if everybody in this room cooperates for the first time, truly, to solve some of the real problems, then we're going to make a difference. And so in this iteration of the work, we're not going to run a research project, although we might run one because John Bremer is here and he came up with a really cool idea about customer lifetime journey. So, that wasn't the goal. The goal here is that there are 4 work streams, and each of the associations are going to work with the people in this room and the people in the profession on those work streams. Insights Association is focusing on the language because the way we talk about data integrity really matters. It matters to the buyers, it matters to instilling trust, it matters to accurately defining the problem. And so we've actually already rolled out a language guide. We're also going to be focusing on measurement and activation. SampleCon wants to focus on the technology of sampling, things like ghost completes. Those things are solvable if we all solve them together and create some standards. SMR wants to focus on the survey experience, and so we're going to be collaborating with them on that and actually giving you a tool that says, okay, it's not just Burke that says you shouldn't do a 15-minute survey, more than a 15-minute survey. It says you shouldn't do a 45-minute survey. It's the associations and the companies across the globe that say you shouldn't do it. So you might be able to find someone that will do that, but that's not the standard, and give some actual standards that will assist. And then MRS wants to focus on bots and farms and AI and some things like ChatGPT, as well as some specifics that they've already done in their market around looking at data for mobile and those sorts of things. So together, we all focus on an area and we roll out some great things in 6-12 months. We can make a real difference. But we do have to collaborate, and I'm so excited that what it feels like this moment in time when everybody's really ready to truly, finally collaborate and make a difference.
And I would add that just because you're in this room at SampleCon, it doesn't mean that you are not able to work on what SMR is doing, or Insights Association or MRS. We want this cross-pollination.
There are no walls.
That's exactly correct. There's no walls, there's no borders. This is about us simply solving a challenge that's going to make our industry stronger and protect us for the future.
Yeah.
And bring trust back, ensure that there is trust.
Yeah. So if you would like to get involved, email Rachel. No. Email Melanie at insightsassociation.org, or Rachel.
Or me at rachel@samplecon.com, and we're all going to start to kind of communicate, and we'll be getting a lot more information out there.
We were going to share this with you at the end, so this is the big announcement. There's not one coming later.
Yeah.
The reason we decided to share it now is we want you to think about this, and Chuck will speak to it, going into the sessions. We want you to really think about what can we do tangibly in the next 6 months that will make a difference for the next 6 years. And so when you have your quality conversations, we really want you to think about some things that you could pass back to these work streams that we can tangibly do in the next 6 months.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
Very good. I think that's worth a round of applause. Thank you, guys. We do appreciate this. Okay, so before we jump to the first panel, I've got a few slides I had said I'd walk you guys through. This is just to give some context to the people that really are focused on the sample and the delivery and don't really see beyond to the end results. This is from some research I've done. I do a lot of research on sample and data quality and all of that. And just wanted to take you through a few slides to kind of show you what we're seeing when we see poor quality versus better quality. That first chart there on your left is kind of a distribution by age and gender. I've got a scoring mechanism that I use that looks at respondent engagement and answer consistency and time spent in survey. Are you in the middle of the bell curve? Are you at the extremes? An algorithm that I use to kind of score people on that data quality continuum. What I've got there is really, kind of the lowest quintile, about the lowest 20%, saying that's poor quality, and then looking at how those answers for that lowest quintile look compared to the other 80% of the sample. And you can see by age and gender, there's definitely some patterns there. One of the things that surprised me in this most recent stuff I did a couple months ago was that middle age group, that 30 to 49-year-olds, had a higher proportion of lower quality respondents than I'm used to seeing. I'm used to seeing more of a straight line there, that we've always known that the youngest audience tends to satisfy and quickly fly through surveys and may not give us the attention that a respondent who's 55 years old might. But that middle group, for whatever reason, was looking a little dicier than I've seen in the past. So I'm going to be curious to see how that pans out. I've got some more research launching tomorrow, actually, so that'll be interesting. The chart on your right there just shows kind of indices of which subgroups tend to provide better quality than others. Again, you see some patterns by age. One of the things that you see on there is that those that prefer not to answer a demographic question, highly likely that they're going to satisfy and just provide poor quality through the rest of your survey. So that's one way that you can kind of look for things. If you see somebody prefer not to answer on multiple demo questions, go back and look at their other data. There could be some stuff there. Interestingly, on this group, on education, it looks like kind of the sweet spot is education, high school education, a little above. Bachelor's degree, is pretty normal, but at both ends of that extreme, you get a little bit lower quality amongst maybe the most educated, or are they saying they're more educated? Not sure. Some of the other things we see besides the prefer not to answers is you tend to see satisficing behavior with extra responses in none and don't know and those sorts of things. So when you see an abundance of that, it's potentially, something that you need to look at the rest of the data. Statistical differences across the board on all of these for higher mentions of those kind of satisfied answers. And then also, this can have significant impact on results. There's a great tendency for people with lower quality, those that are satisficing, just to click the first box. So in a rating question, depending upon how you've set up your rating scale, that could be a whole bunch of completely agrees or a whole bunch of completely disagrees. You can see amongst that lowest quintile, very marked differences in use of rating scales there across a series of activities, a series of behaviors. And that's the kind of stuff that gets us in trouble when we go to deliver results, right? That if we don't take care to clean that stuff out, if we're not paying attention to these kinds of things, that's when, research can go askew, and then we've got egg on our face and distrust in the industry, all of that.